Indications that al-Qaeda is very present in Syria and making a stand there, Charles. Here's what the Prime Minister of Great Britain, David Cameron, said about all of this today.
Syria isn't Libya. It's a different situation. I don't think military approaches are right in this case. I've thought very carefully about that, but I think there's a lot more pressure that we can put on, and there's a lot we can do, for instance, to help the Syrian opposition with advice and support.
Okay, Charles?
Well, he's right, but in some sense Syria is easier for the revolution because the strength, the power, the energy, the commitment of the rebels is far stronger than it was in Libya. They don't really need, I think, outside air power right now. Look, I think Pat is right that the quicker this over is better, because the longer it goes on, the more the extremists can get a hand among the rebels. But that argues for more intervention on our part, not less. If you want it over quicker, what you do is you make sure the rebels get weapons equal, at least in power, to some of those that the regime has. The rebels who have managed to capture one tank. It isn't exactly, an equilibrium in the power each side has. So I'm glad to know they're giving at least non-lethal aid. I think it would make sense to increase that to lethal aid and to training in Turkey so that we have some influence over the guys who will come out at the end.
Despite the fact that we don't truly know the composition of this rebel force.
That is right, but we don't have a choice as to the outcome. The revolution is going to happen with us or without us. The revolution is underway for a year and a half, largely without us. If we had a choice, do you want a revolution or not, that'd be a different issue. We're in the middle of it. We're at the end game of this. So if the rebels who are now in Aleppo, which is a real signal of how weak the regime is, if it's now approaching the end game, we better get involved and begin to sort out the factions of the opposition so that you don't end up with a worst-case scenario. That's an argument for more intervention.